What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Sideswipe the Boss, back at it again with another Arrowverse TV show review. And I have made it to the crutch of the Arrowverse, the lowest point, well, one of the lowest points it can get, and that is Arrow Season 4. So before we get into the review, I'm going to just remind you guys that if you like this video, well, hit that like button if you like the video. Also, if you want to see more of my videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel, also to help support the channel as well, and I would really appreciate that. And yeah, just like and subscribe, and also leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So, Arrow Season 4. Just Arrow Season 4 just follows, Oliver and Team Arrow, doing their thing in Starling City. Well, named Star City now. And yeah, they just come across this new guy with some ghosts. And yeah, a lot of stuff happens this season, but none of it's good at all, like whatsoever. Maybe like one or two things. So for standout episodes, there really wasn't a good episode this season at all. If I have to give one episode a little bit of benefit, I'll just say episode 4, entitled Beyond Redemption. It had a pretty good scene with Oliver and Quentin. It was a pretty good emotional scene. And yeah, I'll just say that episode. I don't really know what else there would be. So the main characters list is pretty much the same. You got Oliver Queen, John Diggle, Felicity Smoak, Thea Queen, Laurel Lance, Quentin Lance, and the main villain of the season, Damien Dark. And you got your side characters. Once again, you got like Malcolm Merlyn, you got like Nyssa, you got Felicity's mom, she shows up, and a bunch of others I can't really remember right now, but I'll probably get into them as the episode goes along. I don't know what kind of drugs the writer's room was on this season, but whatever they were on, let me get some of that. Man, I'm just kidding. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. But yeah, I don't know what they were on this season, but the writing made no sense whatsoever. The storylines didn't make sense. The fight scenes were terrible, like terrible. The overall, like I said, the overall storyline didn't make sense. The characters were written bad, and it was just a mess. It was a mess from the start, and it just continued to be a mess all throughout the whole season. So first up, we have Oliver Queen, and he is not that great this season, actually. No fault to the actor. He does the best he can with what he's given, but the writing is just really bad for him. He's not even the main character this season, if you really think about it. Like, the show is about the Green Arrow. He is the Green Arrow, yet he is put on the side for other characters this season. He doesn't really have any like real character development this season like he does other seasons. It's just him being there and fighting just because he's the Green Arrow. So he's not really a good character. Once again, no fault to the actor, but Oliver Queen didn't hit the mark this season at all. Oliver also runs for mayor this season. I forgot to mention that, so that's there. I guess that's kind of a little bit of character development in a sense. Him being a hero also in the light of day and not just as the Green Arrow at nighttime. I guess that's fine. He wins in the end, so there's that. Next up, we have John Diggle, and he's just an okay character this season. I mean, he's usually a pretty good character, but this season he was just okay. This is the first season where he portrays a superhero and like goes out and like fights crime with like a mask and a costume and everything. And his superhero persona is Spartan, which I guess is an okay name. The suit's also just okay. The helmet looks weird on him, but it's just okay. He's just like in all black with a gun, nothing really special. But Diggle is just an okay character. He doesn't really do much except when it's involving his brother, because this season he had a storyline where like his brother was alive and all that. It had potential to be a pretty good story with like some heart-wrenching moments, but Andrew Diggle, he wasn't really a good character at all, which made the storyline kind of flop, and it wasn't very emotional. Not even his death was emotional. It was just like, oh, okay, John killed his brother. Oh well. And yeah, John Diggle is just an okay character this season. Nothing very special. Next up, we have Felicity Smoak.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Sorry, I just got done eternally screaming. She was awful this season. Awful, like awful. I don't know who, what, when, where, why, what specific writer wrote her or something, or was it multiple people, but she was awful. I mean, to her cheesy dialogue, arguments that didn't make any sense whatsoever. She got mad at Oliver because he didn't tell her about his son,
which he just found out about like 1 hour ago.
And I think that I'm entitled to a minute to process that by myself.
I don't care that you have a child. I can't believe that you have a child that you didn't tell me about. I care that you lied to me just now.
Oh, this shit's pissing me the fuck off. I'll cut the fucking camera.
like what? You don't make any sense. She's basically the main character this season. This is why this season fails so much, because she's not a main character at all whatsoever. She can be a decent side character like she was in season 1 and season 2, but when she's given the spotlight, it's a train wreck. It's honestly a train wreck. That love storyline with Oliver and Felicity, it hit a T this season. Not in the good way though, because it was in the forefront and it was just irritating. She had that little storyline with her dad. I guess that was fine. Nothing really special. And yeah, honestly, I don't know why she sticked around. She could have died in the mid-season finale, but you know, they just wanted to give her another storyline when she got paralyzed, and then all of a sudden, it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. But you know, I guess she kind of gets better, but nowhere as good as she was in season 1 and 2. Nowhere near. Felicity just an awful character this season. Awful. Like, if she wasn't in this season, it would have been so much better. Next up, we have Laurel Lance. And to be honest, Laurel is probably the best character this season. She's pretty good in, like, you know, the Black Canary role, you know, being a superhero and all. She's kind of got that more down than she did last season. She had some pretty decent scenes with Oliver, actually. They weren't really great or anything, but they were decent scenes. She gets her sister back, so that was fine, I guess. And then the writers smoked way too much. They killed her off.
I cannot fucking believe it. I can't.
Why? Like, why? They kill off one of the best characters in the show, one of the best characters in the season, one of the pivotal characters in the Green Arrow mythos. Literally, Black Canary has never been without Green Arrow. Well, sometimes she has, but most of the time she's usually with Green Arrow. It's usually Green Arrow and Black Canary. They're married in the comics, and you kill her off? Why? What? I don't understand. But yeah, I was sad. I was more mad than sad though that they killed her off, but her death scene was emotional. I'll give this season that. But still, they didn't need to kill her off at all. Like, I don't understand why they killed her off. But I guess, I don't know. Was it to introduce Black Siren in later seasons? I don't understand, but if that's the case, then I don't get it. But yeah, Laurel Lance is a pretty good character this season. One of the best this season. And I was sad when she did die because she was a good character. But the actress does stay for later roles, and I'm glad she does because that role is actually pretty good. Next up, we have Thea Queen, and she's also just an okay character this season. This season, she also suits up as Speedy alongside Team Arrow, and she's okay. She has some pretty decent fight scenes. One storyline she did have that I thought was okay was when she was dealing with like her bloodlust thing because of the Lazarus pit. I mean, I guess that was fine to give her a little more character development. I mean, she leaves Team Arrow at the end of the season though, so it was a little regression more than progression. But anyway, she was just an okay character. Nothing really special about her this season. Next up, we have Quentin Lance, and he was also a pretty decent character this season. I'd say the second best character behind Laurel. He has some pretty good emotional scenes, like when Laurel died. That was a pretty emotional scene. When him and Oliver were having those talks in episode 4, like I said earlier, that was some pretty good scenes with Quentin. He had that storyline where he was undercover in Damien Dark's organization, so I guess that was fine. Give him the little like undercover role, I guess. And yeah, he was just a pretty decent character. He was solid. I'll give him that. He was a solid character. He also started to like have a relationship with Felicity's mom, and that was more awkward than anything. I don't even know what to say about that. That was just awkward. But yeah, Quentin Lance was a pretty decent character this season. Yeah, he's pretty steady throughout the show. I'll say he gets a little bit of decline this season, but he's pretty much always going to be a good character, no matter what. And finally, we have the main villain of the season, Damien Dark, played by Neil McDonough. I don't know how to pronounce it, but Neil. Now that I look back on season 4, he wasn't really a bad villain. He had some pretty good, like, funny moments, and he was a pretty good, like, pretty decent threat to Oliver, actually. Well, he was overpowered, yes, I'll take that off, but he was actually not a bad villain at all. Like I said, he has some pretty funny moments. He was actually had more layers than the typical one-layer villain because, he had a family, so he had people he cared about. He had people he was doing all his stuff he was doing for. So I like that about him. But other than that, he was overpowered for starters. His plan to destroy the whole world and start over, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Hell nah, nigga.
Like, why? Why do you want to destroy the whole world? It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, he was just fine, I guess. Nothing really special about him. He was just an okay villain. Not bad like I used to think he was, but just okay. Even although I do like the fact that he went on to Legends in like seasons 2 and 3 because it made him such a better character. But I'll get to that in my Legends review. And now to go over the side characters. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to go over all of them because I don't remember all of them. But I'm going to go over as many as I can remember. So let me know in the comments if I do miss any. But to start off, we got Curtis Holt. He's introduced this season. He's just there, to be honest. He's kind of like the male Felicity. So none really special about him. Except he's the male Felicity. But in that case, that's not a good thing at all. Then we have Malcolm Merlyn. He's just there again, to be honest. Nothing really special about him. He just goes down, to be honest. He loses his seat of power in the League of Assassins. He loses his arm or his hand, so there's that. And yeah, he keeps flip-flopping sides, to be honest, and it does kind of get annoying. Then we have Nyssa, but she was also part of the League of Assassins storyline, so I guess she was there. Sarah came back to life, so that's important. We get introduced to John Constantine, and he was actually a pretty good character this season for the one episode that he did show up in. Matt Ryan is a perfect cast for the role. Roy Harper comes back for one episode, but that was just okay. It was cool seeing him in the suit, but that was really it. Then we got Felicity's mom, who's annoying, like super annoying, even more annoying than Felicity, and I never thought that was possible. Then we have Felicity's dad. He was also just there, to be honest. Nothing very special. Then we have like Damien Darhk's wife, and I guess she was honestly just there as well, just like a political enemy, because Oliver was running for mayor this season. So yeah, she was just there. Ray Palmer, he was also in this season, but just for like 2 episodes, because he was like shrunken down, because everyone thought he was dead, but he was just shrunken down. Then they freed him, and he just zooped off to Legends, I guess. Nothing really else to say about it. So moving on from characters, we got like the suits of the season. The suits were actually not bad. The Green Arrow suit was pretty good, actually. The sleeveless arms kind of gives the like comic book vibe, because the comic book Green Arrow usually has no sleeves, so that was pretty cool. He also gets the Green Arrow name. Well, he names himself like the Green Arrow this season instead of the Arrow, so I guess that was pretty cool as well. Speedy's suit was fine. It's just a female version of the Arsenal suit. I already went over Diggle's suit. It was just okay. The helmet looked weird though. Laurel had the same Black Canary suit, so nothing really there. The main villain, Damien Darhk, didn't really have a costume or suit. He had a suit, but like just like a regular tuxedo suit. And yeah, there weren't really any other like interesting costumes or suits. Well, actually, there was the Vixen suit, because Vixen, she made her debut this season, so her suit was colorful, I guess. Nothing really special. Her appearance wasn't really anything special either, except really just introducing a new character into the Arrowverse. The fight scenes were awful, terrible, disgusting. Whatever synonym goes with that. It was just bad, really bad. Especially that final fight where they're just punching each other. Like, the final fight should be awesome, not just them punching each other back and forth, and that's not interesting at all. There weren't really any good fight scenes this season. Like, they were just there, to be honest. Maybe one good fight scene I could think of was when it was the one shot of Speedy taking on that ghost. I think that was Andrew. I'm not really sure, but that was actually a pretty decent fight, because I do like those one shot. Well, make it look like a one shot fight scene. It was okay, but other than that, the fight scenes were disgusting, terrible. I hated them. I hated them. The villains of the week had barely any personality or too much personality. I didn't like them at all whatsoever. And yeah, that's really it. The villains of the week were just bad, and they contributed to why this season was bad. The overall storyline was also just bland, to be honest. Nothing really super interesting happened. Oliver is just running for mayor. They're just trying to stop Damien Darhk. It's really as simple as it gets. The side storylines, I kind of went over them already. They weren't any help to the season at all. They were kind of just distracting from the main plot. So the overall storyline was just okay, but bland at the same time. Also, this year is year 2 of the annual crossover event between The Flash and Arrow. And the Arrow episode serves as part 2 of the crossover event, which is entitled Legends of Yesterday. And just like episode 1, which was in the Flash, it was bad. Vandal Savage is a terrible villain. He's just very bad. The Hawks didn't help the episode at all. It was kind of messy. And also that storyline of Barry, time traveling again. It kind of was a distraction. It felt like a Flash episode when they threw that element into there. And also, this is the episode I talked about where Felicity got mad at Oliver just because Oliver didn't tell her about his son, who he had just found out about 1 hour before. Like, literally, he hasn't even had time to process this himself. But I'm not finna rant about that anymore. I did already. But yeah, the crossover this year wasn't any good, and the Arrow episode, it was worse than the Flash episode, to be honest. And we cannot do an Arrow review without going over the flashbacks. This year is year 4 of the flashbacks, and it features Oliver back on Lian Yu, but this time with like a group of people with like slaves and stuff, harvesting for, I don't know, like mystical objects or something like that. It was stupid, to be honest. It wasn't as bad as season 3 flashbacks were, but season 4's flashbacks, they weren't really very interesting at all. Baron Ryder, I think the villain was for the flashbacks. He was just basic, to be honest. Nothing very interesting or special. He was just like a basic cliche villain. And I don't even remember the lady's name that was with Oliver, but she was just there, I guess. Nothing very interesting about her. The only thing I guess interesting about her is that she does set up the flashbacks for season 5, and season 5's flashbacks were pretty good. So I guess she does do something. But other than that, the flashbacks of season 4 weren't good at all. In conclusion, with a horrible everything.
Oh, shit!
Alright, let me stop playing around. But literally with almost a horrible everything. Bad fight scenes, bad writing for the characters, no interesting storylines. This season just drops the ball all the way. Doesn't even drop it on the floor, like drops it into the abyss of bad content, bad television. So Arrow season 4 is the worst season of Arrow, in my opinion. And it should be in everybody's opinion, and is one of the worst seasons of the Arrowverse. So out of 10, I'll give it a 5.1 out of 10. It's still better than Supergirl season 1, because that's like my least favorite season of Arrowverse television ever, unless Batwoman finishes bad. But yeah, Arrow season 4 gets a 5.1 out of 10. So that's it for this review. Thank you for tuning in, and also tune in to the next episode of this Arrowverse TV show review series, which will begin Legends of Tomorrow. So that should be pretty interesting. If you like this video, leave a like for me. Also leave your opinions in the comment section down below. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, just subscribe for me. Help support the channel. It'd be very appreciated. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace out.